maybe
Yeah.
like a little bit more.
Whoa.
But yeah, that's kind of where it's from. But it was really
That's
cool.
sick though.
Yeah, I'm really excited because I think that this is like a lot more fun, a lot more casual.
Yeah, sure.
And is that saying now?
Yeah, sure.
Is it on? Because it's blinking.
Yes.
So as someone who's like a worship leader on campus and like kind of someone who has like more like exposure, like with like kind of like fame in a sense, like how do you actively practice humility in life?
Oof. That is the question. I mean, to me, there's two things. It's like, one is just realizing where your gifting comes from and not taking credit yourself. I think it's a big thing. But also, I think just a lot of people, I mean, I don't know, many people that could go on shows like America's Got Talent or have, I guess, like a platform with the collective in a sense, can, I mean, maybe use that as a way to be exclusive, but I at least what my goal is, I try to be as relatable and approachable as possible. Because like, I mean, I'm just, you know, a human, just like everyone else. Oh, there's a little rock right there. But yeah, I love talking with people, and I would hate the fact that like someone would not want to come talk to me because like, oh, he's on the collective, so he probably doesn't want to talk to me.
Yeah.
I just love to have intentional conversations and get to know as many people as I can while I'm here. And I guess because of that mentality, like it usually, I guess, you know, usually it goes across well or comes across well, hopefully, because again, I wouldn't want any on the collective. I mean, I've talked to collective members about this. It's like, because we're in a sort of, you know, spiritual leadership position, like we need to be the people that are in campus a lot or on campus a lot. So that's why I stay on campus. Like I could move off, but I would prefer being on campus so that I am able to build intentional relationships with people that if they didn't know me may assume that I'm just like a jerk because like, I don't know, I'm on stage. Sometimes that's a thing, you know? Yeah. But I've been able to make friends on East that originally were like, wow, I had no idea collective people, you know, could be nice, which is so weird to think. Yeah. that's a stigma sometimes. But yeah, I think that's what I try and do. I should just try to have intentional conversations and relationships with people so that they realize I'm a human and not trying to be something else, like an on-campus celebrity or something like that. Yeah,
no, that's really awesome. I think like that's something that like, as people who look at the collective, like that's definitely something that like, it's hard, like even for us to be like, they're just people. Yeah. Because like idolization of like some of the people, like I know like a lot of the girls like always usually freak out over like some of the guys in the collective. And it's like that's just like, I can't imagine like hearing you say that like is like very like eye-opening, like based on that. Yeah. Okay. Tell a story in your life where you felt God just like speak to you in like an incredible way.
Ooh, I think probably the first time I ever, I guess it's not like one of those experiences where like you hear an audible voice of the Lord, but it was just being moved by truth. I was at a camp, so I mean, at the camps we always have like emotional experiences, right? But like, it was, I guess, the first for mine, but it came much later in my life, like when I was, I think I was 17 at the time, and it was the song Forever Rain.
A Hill song?
Like, oh, I'm running to your, like, and I loved that song, but it just, to me, at the time, like, it just spoke to me so much because, I mean, I'm to me, it's kind of like, it's just that song of security whenever you're feeling doubtful, or when basically whatever you're going through, if you're just in some kind of spiritual darkness or depression, it's like the first person that you should run to is Christ. Yeah. And I think that was one of those moments I look back and it still impacted me to this day. And I love singing the song whenever it comes on, or which it never comes on anymore because it's so old. It's so old. But to me, the simplicity of it in the chorus, it just moves me a lot. And God's used that song in my life to kind of pull me out of spiritual ruts, I guess I could say.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's say that.
I love that song.
It's a good song.
Tell a story in your life where you like experience like the faithfulness of God in your life.
Faithfulness of God in my life. My whole life. He's been my entire life. One particular one. Let's see here. Oh yeah, I would say in high school, freshman year was really difficult the first semester because I didn't really have like any friends, and I just remember going through like kind of another like spiritual kind of downer, and I was just praying to the Lord that He would provide like a friend group for me that, because like the guys in my grade just I didn't like what they talked about. They just were talking about not great stuff, and this was a Christian school, so which was really surprising. But I just prayed for a friend group, and God gave me a friend group of like 7 girls, but all of them were like very like spiritually invested and like big encouragements to me. There was like one guy, so I did have one guy friend, but like that was like a demonstration of his faithfulness to me, because like it was at the end of the first semester. They like invited me over to just like sit at their table, and that was like the first time someone ever like had kind of reached out to me to be like, yo, like we want you to be a part of something. So yeah.
What about God makes you fall more in love with Him and why?
Probably just like, I mean, I know it's a typical answer, but like mercy/grace, because like God's holiness, the level of holiness, if we were exposed to that holiness, we would like all die, because He's just that holy. And the fact that for sinful creatures like us, for Him to extend mercy and grace in just everyday life situations, giving us air to breathe, or like blessing us with just different things throughout the day, or just, you know, like David Nasser or Pastor Dave was talking about the other day, like gifting us with trials, like that's hard to accept, but like it all ties back to His mercy and His grace and like His holiness. So like to me, I just, what makes me fall in love with Him is the fact that He graces me with the opportunity to like wake up and to hopefully glorify like Him throughout the day. And so yeah, that's something that definitely caused me to fall in love with the Lord like every single day.
Yeah. Okay. Have you ever witnessed somebody come to know Christ?
From like a distance, I've actually like, I've always been in like a really small Christian bubble. I haven't come across many people who have been unsaved. In my workplace, I used to work at Cracker Barrel, so I did get exposed to some non-Christian workers. And America's Got Talent, there were some as well. And like I would talk about my faith, but I've honestly never had like a gospel conversation with anyone, because I mean, I guess I could like just throw it upon them, which I think is totally fine, is to be like, hey, like have that intentional conversation. But it's like, I guess never came up, and no one ever has really asked me. And again, I've never been in like many situations where I've been able to like have time. Like at Cracker Barrel, it was just rush, you know.
Yeah.
So like we couldn't like just sit down and chat about like our daily lives. And with America's Got Talent, it was kind of the same thing, as we were just always doing stuff or filming or doing a lot of things. But you know, I went to Boyce, which is literally like a pastor's college. At Liberty, I'm always surrounded by people who are, you know, avid followers of Christ. So I've always like, I think at camp or something, or campus community or something, I've seen some people like rededicate their lives or maybe even be saved for the first time. But I've never actually been used yet for that. So hopefully one day though. Hopefully sometime too.
How or where do you hear God the most?
I mean, it's a pretty typical answer, but like just in the Word. I think like right now I'm in John, and I think it's like here again. I've never like actually heard. I've never gone like full blown Bethel and been like, oh yeah, I hear him like say something specific to me, because like I guess I didn't grow up in that culture. So like if he did, I'd be totally down for it. But to me, it's the more hearing is more like the seeing, and seeing like where I'm supposed to be, or like when I'm in the Word, and like I've had something happen, and it just happens to speak to that particular situation, and that's kind of how I hear what the Lord's telling me in my life. So yeah, I would say, yeah, just being in the Word, is probably the way that I guess typically like hear what the Lord's kind of telling me. So yes, sir.
What is your favorite passage of Scripture?
Favorite passage of Scripture? Probably like, that's so hard. I'm trying to think of something that's been super impactful. Probably like Romans 8. I like a lot. I would say Romans 9, but that's like a typical Reformed answer. But yeah, Romans 8 to me, just because of Romans 8, 28 through 30, it's like conforming, like, and every day God's conforming us to the image of His Son. It's just like has been super impactful. That's like my favorite selection of verses, Romans 8, 28 through 30. So yeah, I say if I had to choose Romans 8, if I had to choose like a book, probably just Romans again. So I love Romans. There's just a lot of theology packed into that one book. So yeah, that would be my answer.
Okay.
Okay.
Tell a story of a time that you experienced God's love.
Experience God's love. Let me sift through the memories here. I mean, this one was really recent, but just bringing me to Liberty, because I was at a point where I didn't know what I was gonna do, because I just got off the show, and I think, yeah, so I got off America's Got Talent like in August of 2018, and I was pursuing some label stuff and kind of like trying to pursue my, I guess, the artist kind of dream, but nothing was like really panning out and nothing really worked out. And so in December, I was like, oh man, I don't know where I'm supposed to go. Am I supposed to go back to my old college, Boyce? And some things just fell through as far as Boyce and some scholarship things, and it was really weird. And then I just got a random call from, well, what actually happened is I got home from a songwriting session, and my dad said, hey, I got a text from David Nasser. And I was like, who's David Nasser? And he said, oh, they want to talk about You Come to Liberty, like they want to pitch, You Come to Liberty. I was like, really? So then I talked, and I ended up talking with the director of the Liberty Worship Collective, and he said, yeah, if you want to come on, we have a slot for you. And I was like, wow, like, give me 3 seconds to pray about that. Okay, yeah, I'd love to come, kind of thing. So that was just an example of God really putting me in a place that I didn't think originally that I would like. And just, I guess I experienced His love because, like, He put me in a place that, yeah, again, originally I thought I would hate, because I was like, it's too big. It's not, I'm used to a small kind of environment. But He had a better plan for me. And I've had better friends than I've had than any other place. I've been able to just travel with the collective and be able to lead worship and start to experience more freedom in worship, because I used to be at a college where like expression or expressiveness in worship was like, you could do it, but it just wasn't encouraged as much as it is here. And the amount of things that I've been exposed to have just been great, just for forming my foundation as a believer. So I guess that hopefully be the answer to that question.
So, all right, you have released 2 songs, The Average and Saved.
Yeah.
And so they're absolute bops, right?
Oh yeah.
They're great things to listen to.
Sure.
But like, what's even better than the song, I think, is actually probably the message behind it. So like, just to explain, like, I guess the meaning behind the song The Average.
Okay, I'll try and do it as concisely as possible, because it is a long one. But basically the song is talking about trials and going through hardships. So the first verse is talking about some guy that like the average stands for like the average Christian. It's like a shortened version. So yeah, a lot of people describe the Christian life as being something that should be easy, or they won't have to go through many trials, like kind of the prosperity gospel kind of thing. And I guess I wanted to write a song from the perspective of someone who maybe attends a church like that or has been told something like that after becoming a Christian. So the first verse is him kind of just describing this experience of frustration because he doesn't know why. He's like, I'm suffering and I don't understand why. And then the chorus is like, swept away in the dead of winter. So like swept away into trials is only when I cry out to God, because a lot of us tend to go through that is whenever we're in the midst of difficulty is when our relationship with God. And you see that with celebrities too. They'll like have some kind of freak accident or something, or like maybe like a family member or something's going through a tough time. They're like, yeah, my faith has just really helped. But then when they're back in their prosperity times, or back when they're, you know, just living a normal life, they might tend to be like, they won't talk about their faith as much, or they'll start appearing, you know, it's a whole slew of things. So kind of this, again, just that frustration, dealing with that. And in the bridge, it talks about, don't be surprised when trials come and invade your lives. The truth is, we follow Christ in the good or bad, in the day and night. Kind of going off of 1 Peter, and there's another passage, but basically saying like, do not, like what is it? It's count it all joy, brethren, when you meet trials of various kinds, but also like, do not be surprised when trials appear, because it's for your sanctification and holiness, kind of basically. So that's I know that's kind of all over the place, but that's I guess the condensed version of what that song means. So yeah.
What are some of your dreams?
Dreams. So one would be just to be a traveling Christian artist, like my dad was back in the day. Two would be make movie, like film scores, creating soundtracks, because I'm a big Hans Zimmer fan. I'm Thomas Newman. And third, I've always wanted to like be on Winter Jam. I think that'd be a great opportunity, just to like minister to that like kind of age of kids, because like my passion's always been youth. So not to say that I wouldn't love singing for like adults.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I just have a passion for like youth for Christ kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's three. Yeah, traveling to Europe would be another one. That's a dream. And getting married would be a dream. Okay.
So what does worship mean to you in your daily walk with Christ?
So not to get all theological, but at my old college we studied like what the word worship meant, and like worship is like defined almost as ascribing the proper amount of worth to like God. So like that's why worship doesn't necessarily just have to mean music. It can mean like your word intake, but also listening to a sermon and like worshiping God through that sermon, and having something that the Lord speaks to you in that way. So for me, like it's just that combination is that's why also you can worship in rehearsal time, and so many people view rehearsal time like in collective, or like worship in general, like like we have to rehearse, and like everyone's kind of just, you know, not in the mood. But it's like we're still singing truth in that moment, so therefore you can still worship and without a group of people watching you. And some people on the collective definitely like exemplify that in rehearsal, which is great. So yeah, for me it's like a whole combination of things, just like the prayer aspect, the daily word intake aspect, the rehearsal with collective, or just in every aspect of life there's ways for you to worship the Lord by ascribing the proper amount of worth or glory to Him through those experiences. So I don't know if that answers the question, but I guess that's
awesome.
Yep.
So you were on America's Got Talent,
Yes.
and one of the, I think, defining moments for you was when Simon Cowell literally was like, stop the song. You're like, oh shoot.
Yeah.
And then you get up on your stage and you actually sing your original song and just totally kill it. And like, I guess America's Got Talent overall is like kind of like, it's a very broad like thing to ask about, but like how exactly did you see like God work through all of that throughout your time on America's Got Talent?
I'd say probably the main way was the fact that kind of coming in, I had not been exposed to like any kind of like worldliness or anything like that. So yeah, like I never been exposed to like, I guess, yeah, worldly culture. And I wasn't prepared for kind of how difficult that would be to be myself. I remember at first I was really nervous about talking about my faith because I didn't want the producers to like kick me off the show. Which looking back is you know, I wish I was more bold at the beginning, because again, like, I can see moments where I caved, where I could have said something that I didn't, because, you know, I know Christians don't get a really good rap in like the secular like movie making industry. So I was like, if I'm open about that, they're probably just not going to put me on. But I realized the more that I didn't talk about my faith, or if I was scared to talk about it, the more kind of like imprisoned I felt instead of free, because like you're feeling like, oh, because I'm not going to talk about my faith, I might be more free just to be something else. But it's actually funny, you feel like you actually put yourself more in a box. So the more that I ended up opening up about, you know, my faith and just kind of growing up in church and some of those different like aspects of my Christian walk, the more that I didn't really care about what they had to say. It was more just about what was true and what was right to say. And so yeah, I think the biggest thing was God actually helped make me a little bit more, I think, bolder of a person, and speaking out, speaking about things that are personal to you, and speaking about things that that Christ has done in your life, even when it's difficult and you feel like other people are not going to respect that. So yeah, I think that was probably the biggest thing that I learned, like, on my walk with America's Got Talent. So yeah.
All right, so I guess final question is, how can we be praying for you?
Ooh. Yeah, number one thing you could probably be praying for me for would be, I would say I'm in a stage of life where things are uncertain. I'm a music major, so there's not a lot of stability with jobs, like, after you graduate. Like, if you get an engineering degree, it's like you graduate and bam, there's like 500, you know, jobs just waiting for you because you're now qualified. Whereas music, it's like you graduate and then you're like, what do I do now? It's like there's nothing to do. So yeah, prayers that I would just rest, like, trust in the Lord, because like it's really hard. It can, especially as a musician, it's hard to rely upon the will of the Lord, because you have kind of a plan of what you want to do, and you, like, a road that you think would probably be the best way to take that. But God, it's knowing that God has a better plan for you. He has a plan that it may be hard to submit to, but we're still walking. I know we're still walking. But it's that aspect of life where submitting to God can be one of the hardest things that you can do, but looking down 20 years in the future, you know it's going to be the way that really conforms you to Christ, but is in your best pursuit of holiness. So that would be my prayer request right there.
Definitely be praying for it, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it, sir.
So, these are going to be rapid fire questions.
All right, I'm ready.
So, what is your Starbucks order?
Starbucks order? Oh yeah, citrus mint tea is what it's called. It's called medicine ball. It's good stuff. I used to work at Cracker Barrel, so I did get exposed to some, some non.
Swept away in the dead of a winter is only when I cry out.
That's where Lord of the Rings was shot. Yeah, he knows what's up. He knows what's up. Come on, bro.
Exposure, like kind of like fame in a sense. Like, how do you actively practice humility?